Greetings from Oslo, Norway. David Danto here with Talking Points. And I'm at the NEAT Analyst Summit this week. We're speaking to a number of the executives and engineers from NEAT, listening to their future plans and some NDA information and some other items that we'll get over to you. But I'm here in what's called Video Valley. This is where Tandberg came from, and there's so many other bits and pieces of Tandberg spread out around the industry through companies all over this area. So lots of interesting things coming from this space. Stay with me. I'll give you some more details.
The wide lens, and you have a telelens. We see deeper into the room. We have the same mic array, but we have audio extensions to do a lot of other integrations if you want that. And it's directional audio out, so it's stereo.
Getting a little bit cozy. I know. We want you all to see Arthur's screen, so if you could all come in over here. Yeah, this is Adna, and this is Arthur.
Hi, everyone.
Software engineers on the team.
So I'm sitting here now in the Oslo offices of NEAT. After we've had the Oslo Analyst Summit and had a lot of great information shared, and I'm here with Cathart. Thank you for joining me.
Welcome.
Cathart.
It's good to be here.
What's your role with NEAT?
So I'm the VP for Product Management. I look after product management here at R&D in Oslo.
Okay, so we've got a lot of things that we absolutely can't talk about today.
Yep, there is.
We're going to focus on what we can talk about. There's some announcements coming out next week. There's some announcements coming out next month.
Yeah.
We're now talking about, how long have you been with NEAT?
So I've been around now, almost coming close to, when am I? We're in August, about 9 months. So I joined the start of December last year.
Okay.
And we're in September, so actually 10 months. Yeah.
10 months.
Yeah.
How do you like it so far?
Oh, it's been a fantastic journey, right? I think it's been everything that I expected it to be, but so much more. I think the challenge, the opportunity ahead of us has been fantastic.
Okay, so the ethos for NEAT, I mean, and we're looking at a couple of the NEAT bars behind us right now, is simple, beautiful, excellent design engineering, excellent design from a physical standpoint. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you think about every day when you come in and think about new products and new opportunities?
Absolutely, right. I think if I lied that I didn't wake up out of bed thinking about how am I going to make this easier for the end user, I would be wrong, right? I think every conversation that I go into on a day-to-day basis, and every time I'm deciding what are the trade-offs that I need to make within a particular product, those 3 or 4 principles don't ever go away, right? It's got to be simple, it's got to be flexible, it's got to be adoptable, and it's got to be beautiful, right? You've got to delight that customer, right? So trade-offs, yes, trade-offs are important. That's how you ship things faster. But just certain principles that you don't go through, and I think those are things that I wake up when I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, yep. Absolutely, I'm going to make sure that I'm true to those things.
So you're working with a large team to think about new products and new features? Absolutely.
So I mean, here in Oslo, we've got the R&D team. We've got a number of engineers across the full stack. We've got product managers that are kind of based in London, that are based in Stockholm, that are based here. So yeah, it's a fairly large team.
So how do you prevent scope creep? How do you, when you're dealing with a new product, a new idea, everybody wants to throw everything into it. How do you manage through that to keep it simple and beautiful?
No, and I think that's a very, very good question, right? Because there's 2 kinds of work that we do, right? And I think for a company like ours, where we're innovating and we're kind of constantly challenging the barriers, scope creep is less a problem, right? Which is, hey, I want to be able to get this feature out there, but it has to meet the core use case. That is, it has to solve a customer problem, right? And that's on one side, when you're trying to solve an innovation problem, that's on one side, and you say, scope creep is not really a thing. You're not solved for that use case till you've got the solution right. On the other side, you have, requests that are coming in that are absolutely critical and that are dependent on the sales organization. And there you've got to have a very, very kind of open conversation in my mind to say, look, if you wanted this in its entirety, you could end up getting it in 3 months, in 6 months, in 9 months. You want it now? Let's have a conversation, right? Let's have a conversation on, okay, do you actually need this? Do you actually want this? Don't tell me the solution, tell me the problem, and I will give you the solution that will solve it. That's my job.
Okay.
Right? Come to me with problems, and I'll give you the solution. And that's the way to manage the scope creep, right? Is to say that you have to strike a balance.
Okay, so we can't talk about what's in the other room right now and the planning that went behind it, but you can talk about the process.
Yeah.
That when you're thinking of creating something new, before you actually, start doing 3D printing and design modeling, you're trying to figure out what's the camera angle to be captured, and here are the 19 and 20 different choices, and you've got masking tape down there. And
Absolutely.
Tell me about that iteration process just briefly. And again, we can't talk about the product.
Absolutely.
It's not even a product yet. It's planning.
It's planning, right? And I think, look, it's important for us when we are creating anything physical, and hardware devices are physical things, right? The things you can touch and feel. Before you even start going into the expensive process of getting these things manufactured and getting these things off a shipping line, you've got to be able to create prototypes. You've got to be able to create things that people themselves here can touch and feel, right? So you will see us kind of, when we are early on in that process, even creating cardboard cutouts, right, of things and saying, hey, does this feel like a right form factor for us? Does this, just this cardboard factor, if I'm going to stick it in this meeting room, is it going to feel right? That's one view of it. The other view of it is, what kind of camera angle are we going to look at? And then we go, hold on, let's kind of actually create a room space that we think this particular product is going to go fit into. And now let's look at how are people going to sit in this room, right? And what is the field of view you want to capture? And we would, like you mentioned, we would mask it out, we'd tape it out, we'd go, okay, well, we want this person to be captured, this person to be captured. So there's a lot of physical process that goes into even before you start first line of manufacturing. Or even before you go, you put a request out to get this kind of scoped out and things. There's a lot of thinking that goes in, and that's critical. That is critical because these products go into rooms that are being used by physical people, and they have to solve a need. So unless you create prototypes in the room to be tested and test those things out, it's too late. If you don't have the answer by the time it's been manufactured, it's not going to work. You've sunk all that money. So you've got to almost start early on those things.
All right, so last question. If you're looking at the camera and you're talking to your customers, what do you want your customers to know about solving their problems? What do you want them to know about your process? What's the one most important thing you want to tell them about what it is to be working with Neat?
Look, I think the most important thing for me is Neat. You've got to stand by the kind of key principles that I spoke about, right? Look, we will always be flexible. We'll always be adaptable. We'll always want to solve your problem. But at the heart of it, it's about delivering value to your environments, right? To our customers' environments, right? And our customers' environments have different needs, right? Some folks want it to be working for smaller rooms. Some people want to work for bigger rooms, and those needs, I think, ultimately have a fundamental problem at the heart of it. And for me and for my team's kind of scope is to get to the heart of that problem and really then deliver a solution that can adapt, right? Often, and I think this is my view on it, right, is when you boil things down to its fundamental root, you can solve for 80% of the use cases, right, and solve them well. And that's the key differentiation, is to be able to solve them well, and so that our customers who are watching this are satisfied, right? And that's the way.
Terrific. So I'm looking forward to the announcements that are going to be bleeding out over the next few weeks.
Absolutely.
And we'll come back to this video and tell you that's what we were talking about. But thank you for the time. I really
lovely.
appreciate it. Enjoy Oslo. It's a beautiful city.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
So that's it for this week's UC Weekly News here from Oslo and from the Neat Analyst Summit. This is David Danto. I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.